Hello YouTube, Rohan this side. So today I am creating a small but useful video on how we can use HAProxy Kubernetes Ingress Controller in our AWS EKS cluster. So in the last video I have already tried to explain how we can use Nginx for an Ingress controller and for gateway API. The same thing or the same feature is provided by HAProxy as well. But in the current video, I will be more focusing on Ingress controller part. Maybe we can try the gateway API part later on. So HAProxy is another vendor like Nginx, which provides Ingress controller part, how we can expose our microservice to outside of the world. So HAProxy is a new vendor which do the same thing which is done by Nginx and other provider as well. So let me try to explain you diagram by diagram that how the things work here. So if you will remember, or if you have watched my last video, then you can very much you will be very much familiar with the architecture of how Nginx or the official Kubernetes explain Ingress. So here you can see that we have a request coming from a user, which is accessed or which is hit by Ingress controller, because Ingress controller is the one who is sitting at the front and who is responsible for taking all the requests from the user, as we have installed it inside our Kubernetes cluster. So Ingress controller is the one where we will be writing the rules and the routes, and according to the rules and routes it will do the particular action. So one action could be that whenever we have or whenever a request is raised by a user and it requires a specific service to get triggered or to have an event, then it will redirect the request to the service, and the service which is associated with a pod which is running the container, it will get the request from the Ingress controller and they do the particular work. So here you can see that we have two services, and one service is having one pod and one service is having 3 pod here. So you can have a number of pod, it is totally up to you. So this is how a Ingress controller will work. Similarly, like how all other vendors provide their feature for Ingress controller thing. Okay, so the thing is, this demo I am creating for AWS EKS cluster, which is a cloud-based Kubernetes cluster. So I will be using load balancer DNS IP as a host here, but you can use it. But you can use this thing on your on-premise Kubernetes cluster or your local cluster, and everything will be okay. So I think we can directly jump to the demo part. The thing is, I have not created any presentation or any other stuff for this because everything is already crystal clear by the official documentation thing. And to be very honest with you, I have not done because it does not require very much tool set to have to be working before implementing this. The pre-installation checklist is nothing but you just have you just need a EKS cluster running, AWS CLI working for it, and Helm command is also required. It's optional, but kubectl is required. Why I said Helm as optional? Because we have an option to install the controller using kubectl as well, and I will be using that way only, but you can use the Helm as well, because the official page provides you installation with Helm as well, with HTTPS and OCI. So anything can be okay. But I will be using the option which is installed with kubectl. So I will be using the same application or same POC which I used in my last video, which was a 3-tier Mon application. And I think I have already explained you what my application do and what are the manifest file it needs. So what I can do is I will reiterate what I explained in the last video, but in a lesser time. So I have a backend which is running a Node.js application, Node.js server. So in this backend.yaml, I have used a deployment and a service and a config map because I will be using MongoDB URI as well as its port. So I'm injecting those config map environment variables here in the container section of my deployment. And in the service, I'm using 5000 port for because my container works on that, and port is 80 and it is a cluster IP type. Because if we don't provide any type, so by default it will consider it as a cluster IP. Now for the front end, the same thing, deployment as well as service. In my front end, I am not passing any environment variables, so no config map or secrets are required. So it is very much similar. So the front end is a React JS based application, and it is also using cluster IP service. For MongoDB, instead of using deployment, I'm using stateful set, and I'm using replica 3 for MongoDB, and I'm using Mongo latest image, and I'm passing the database initial database name, which is mon_sts_todo, and the service for my MongoDB pod as well. Cool. Okay, so one more thing, I'm using this branch which is HAProxy-demo for this particular POC. And yeah, after the app folder which is inside my kits, then this is the one where I will be installing HAProxy Ingress Controller, and I will be also deploying the Ingress YAML as well. So let me try to explain what is inside HAProxy Ingress YAML. So first is we are creating a namespace which is HAProxy controller. This is I am also creating a service account, and I am also creating a cluster role for my HAProxy to work because it is a controller and we are installing multiple CRDs for that. So that's why cluster role and cluster role binding is required for that. After that, in this we are using config map, and we are passing SSL redirect port, which is 443 here. After this, I'm installing, or I'm using deployment, where I'm using one replica of pod for this deployment, which will run, and it has the specification related to the props we have, related to the security context we have, the ports the container will use, the environment variable as well. After this, at the last, we have service, as I will be using a load balancer type service for my HAProxy instance. So that's why I have chosen here load balancer, but you can go with any. But I will suggest you, if you are using this, so load balancer is the most preferred one. So this is for the HAProxy Ingress. So let me give a note. So I have not written any of these YAML manifest file. What I have done is I have taken these from the official documentation as well as the GitHub page, GitHub repo of this HAProxy. So what you can do is I will provide the link of this documentation, and inside Kubernetes Ingress, which is a repository of HAProxy tech, inside deploy, we have HAProxy-ingress.yaml. So I have taken everything from this YAML manifest file. So you can also take the same. Okay. So now what we can do is, I think we are good with the architecture, and we are also clear with how we will be installing the HAProxy thing. The last thing is the ingress.yaml, which is required by all the providers, all the vendors, and it is a necessary thing because it's the one who will deploy the Ingress for our application. So it is a kind of Ingress, and this is the name I have given. My application is running on default, so I'm using a namespace default. This is the host, as I'm using a load balancer, and my cloud will provide a load balancer DNS to me. So I will be modifying the same here. In the path, I have two paths. So one is for slash, which is for my front end application, and one path is for slash API, which is for my backend. So the respective services will get triggered whenever we hit a specific path from the URL from the browser. So when slash is hit in the URL in the browser, then front end service will come into picture and it will do what it is meant for. And for slash API, the backend service will get triggered and it will do its work. So this is simple, what I can say, POC, because we have already covered the same for Ingress Controller. So it is nothing more complex or nothing different than that. Only the thing is the installation steps are a little bit different and the vendor is different. So I guess, yeah, I think we can start with the demo. So let me first check the branch I'm currently in. So I'm currently in HAProxy demo, which I have already explained you why. So let me first deploy the my application. So for that, kubectl apply -f app, which is inside K8s, then app. Yeah. So now it will install, it will deploy my backend, my front end, and my database part. So kubectl get pods, and everything will be inside default namespace. So yeah, let us just wait for everything to get running. So we can use a watch mode here. So I guess my MongoDB one replica is up and running, and my front end is also running. My backend is also up and running. Let me check the logs of these. So for that, we can use front end. Let's try with front end. So here I can see from the logs that everything is up and running, and the worker processes are also running. Let me first clear this. kubectl get pods, then the backend kubectl get logs, then the backend port. Okay, I think I have not given the space here. Yeah, I think this is fine. Cool. So my backend is showing that backend is running on port 5000 and it is connected to MongoDB as well. Cool. Let me also check my MongoDB kubectl get pods, and let me try to go. We can also check the logs. Let us check the logs first. kubectl logs. So according to the logs, I can say that yeah, it is up and running. Cool. So what we can say is our application is running, and and the cluster has also provided IPs to the respective services we have. Cool. So now we just have to apply. First we have to deploy the HAProxy Ingress controller. So for that, we just need to apply the YAML manifest file, which is K8s, then HAProxy, then HAProxy-ingress.yaml. So here I will just hit enter. So it will install all the CRDs and all the other stuff which is required to HAProxy Ingress controller to get work. So the thing is, HAProxy is using this namespace, which is HAProxy controller. So everything we need to check here: kubectl get pods, then service inside this namespace. Let me try to minimize it if it is not visible. So the pod is running, and for the service thing, I can see that the service where we have written as load balancer, and one load balancer DNS IP is assigned to this particular service. So this is the service which we will be using, because it will be the one who will be accessed by the outside cluster or the user, we can say, and this is the one who will be responsible for redirecting the request to particular service. Okay, so now what we can do is, now we just have to modify our ingress.yaml, because now we have a different DNS IP. So for that, we just have to navigate to that file, which is inside KX, then HAProxy, then Ingress. So here nothing is complex. We just need to modify the host. Cool. So we have modified the host IP here. Now we have to save it and get exit from this file. And now what we can do is, we just need to apply this thing as well. kubectl apply -f, then this, then we will apply the ingress as well. So ingress is created. So what we can do is, we can check kubectl get ing, which is in default namespace. So yes, this is the one which we have to use, AE112. Okay, so now I will open a new tab and hit this URL. So yeah, I can see that my front end is up, and let me add a new to do here, which is implemented HAProxy in AWS EKS cluster. Okay, so my new to do has been added, and I can see that entry as well. So what we can do, we can also check the backend entries as well, which is from API/todos. So here I can see that my text can be seen here, and it is completed. It is showing completed as false, because we just now have added this, and as soon as we hit complete here, then it will be strike through, and when I will refresh here, then it will show as true. Cool. So another thing which I forgot to show you in my last video as well. So what is that? So as we are using MongoDB database here, which is also running as a stateful set, so we can check those entries inside that as well. So kubectl get pods, then kubectl we will be running or SSHing into this particular pod to check the containers. Then there we will check the collections as well. So now we are inside MongoDB, and we will be using Mongo shell to access everything. So now let us try to display or the list of all the DBs which is running inside this. So here you can see that one is mun sts to do. So from where I got this, so I can show you that as well. So if we go to our repo back, and we go to the app, and inside mongodb.yaml, here you can see that I am passing a environment variable, which is mongo initdb database, which is database name here. So this is how we got the same inside that pod, which is mun sts to do. So now what we will do, we will use this db. So we will use this command, use then the database name. So now we are switched to this database. After this, we will check the collections, because as MongoDB is an NoSQL database, and it uses collections. So this is why we need to use this. So here you can see that show collections, and this is the to-dos. And now we just need to use db.todos, which is the database name, and find. So it will find, or in simple terms, it will display all the entries we have done inside this collection. So after hitting the enter, we get a dictionary of multiple entries, where we can see that this is the text which was similar here when we check the backend as well. So ID, text, completed, created at, and this is that. So the same thing we can check here. Now let me do a simple experiment, not experiment, just a little activity here. Let me try to add a new to do, and we will check the same if my MongoDB is synced correctly or not. New to do is added. So I will refresh. The new to do is also shown in my backend API endpoint. And now let us check the pod as well. So here also with no time it added the same. So yeah, this part basically it's for development thing, but yeah, I was trying to explain how fundamentally these three-tier application works. So that's why I thought I can explain the same what I know to my audience. So yeah, this was all about HAProxy, and I hope I was able to explain you what is HAProxy and how it works and how you can install it in your cluster as well. So yeah, thank you for your time and have a nice day.